country. You don't like her flag. What makes you think that we give a damn about that? There's a million pissed off rednecks just like me, and we're all sick and tired of this bullshit on TV.
Happy Hour is a Tell It As It Is series. You may hear some profanity, things you might find offensive, but that's how I am. I have no filter and no problem telling my point of view. I don't discriminate. I'm simply an asshole to everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to Happy Hour. We are finally to episode 9. We've got some really interesting topics that have kind of popped up over the week that I really think would be cool to cover. So we're going to do that. There's been some good things going on with me. We're working on a couple new programs that I think you guys are going to be really interested in. We are starting a video series called Adventures with Pappy. And with that, it will be me kind of going around the Arizona area, maybe some other states and all that, going around and exploring. I'm really big on rocks, gems, minerals, rock hounding in general, geology, history, ghost towns, all that other cool stuff. So I plan on videotaping my explorations, as you could say, or my adventures, and kind of sharing it with you and trying to talk to you about the history of it, and possibly get you guys excited into, the kind of stuff that I do as well. So that's one of the things that we're doing. And then we have another podcast show that we're going to do once a month, but through Happy Hour. And that particular podcast is going to be called Conspiracies with Pappy. And basically we're going to kind of talk about all the kind of different conspiracies going on worldwide, history-wide. And I'm going to pick one topic each month to talk about. For instance, this first episode that we've just finished writing and we are getting ready to record is actually on the Denver International Airport conspiracies. There's all kinds of conspiracies shrouding this airport, and I want to kind of bring those to light and talk about them, because I've got some people that they know that I'm into that, and they said, well, why don't you talk about conspiracies and stuff? And I said, it's a great idea, but that would be a whole show on its own. And I've got some people that are loving the content we have for Pappy Hour. So now we're going to have Conspiracies with Pappy once every month. So that other show should be coming out probably next week, once we get done building everything with it. So it's a pretty good one. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys will like it too. I do want to, those of you that know, I do have an older daughter, and her name is Regina, and I would like to take a moment to kind of acknowledge her a little bit, because I do get to talk about my littles, and I talked about Bus and Jeeber, my oldest son, but Regina is kind of a special case for me, because it's one of those classic I hate you dad, where have you been all my life kind of cases. And there's a lot of dads out there that understand that, a lot of moms out there that understand that. And so I missed a lot of her life, and I'm trying to figure out how to reconnect and build that. And I admit it, I screwed up, and I probably could have worked harder and done a better job at it. But I missed out on a lot of an amazing, smart, funny girl's life. And now she's becoming a woman, and I'm missing out on a lot of that too. And, when I finally got to meet her, she was in her teens. And when she turned 18, she didn't legally have to come visit me anymore, and didn't legally have to talk to me anymore. So she kind of basically blocked me out of her whole life. Now, I'm hoping that she listens to my show, and I get it. I understand why you're mad, and I am sorry. But just like other adults in the world, we learn from mistakes, and I'm not too proud to admit that I make mistakes. I do, and I can't make up for the past, but I can help create a better future. So those of you that don't know me know that this has been a big void in my life for a long time, and I'm sharing that with my Pappy universe here, and or my Pappy army, I guess I could say. And hopefully she listens to the show and she realizes I'm not this evil bad guy that's out to dominate the world. So, we've got some interesting stories that I'm going to cover. And I'm probably going to butcher a couple of these names, but you know what? I'm not really worried about getting their names right because you guys pretty much know who they are. So, first story we're going to cover is I'm going to say Jussie Smollett. This guy is an absolute idiot. He's a celebrity that had it all and threw it all away. Then we've got our ISIS bride, Hoda Muthana. I want to say that's her name. We're going to talk about her a little bit. Pappy's going to give his point of view. And then the TV show, The Simpsons. Have you ever realized that it's predicting the future? So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you, or tell you more so, what topics that they've predicted that have actually come true. Another story we're going to cover is the zombie apocalypse actually starting. Well, at least for deer it is, and I don't know why they call it that, but we're going to talk about that. And then this one kind of is funny because I've seen it in real life with my own kids, but kids are starting to develop British accents watching Peppa Pig. And this one, this particular topic actually came from one of our listeners that suggested that we cover, so I definitely wanted to give that a go, give that a try. I did go out and watch a new movie this weekend. It's called Fighting with My Family. That was actually a really cool movie. It's a wrestling movie, and it talks about Paige, and she's in the WWE, and it was really kind of a one of those shows that says you want it, you got to work hard for it, and it doesn't matter if you're a wrestling fan or not. This was a really good show. Had a lot of great laughs in it. It was probably one of the better movies I've seen this year so far, as far as achievement movies is what I call them, where somebody goes out, they've got a goal, and they try to achieve their dreams. So it's a really good movie. If you get a chance, go check it out. It's called Fighting with My Family. I was really impressed with that one. All right, so let's talk about an idiot out there. Jussie Smollett, Jussie. I'm just going to call him the dumb dude. All right, the dumb dude. That's his name through this story. So this guy, a joke. He had it made. He had a great TV show that he was on called Empire, which is a huge show right now. I've never seen it, but because it's not my style of show, but it's a very, very popular show, and he had a really good part in it. And a little while back, he reported that he was a victim of a hate crime on January 29th. He claims he was attacked by two people who were yelling out racial and homophobic slurs. And then they poured an unknown chemical substance on him, and then they struck him, put him in a noose around his neck. Now, this dumb dude has identified as gay since 2015 and has portrayed a gay character in his show. Now, a day after the attack, a surveillance camera that showed two people that were wanted for questioning. Now, they didn't actually see, the surveillance cameras did not actually see the crime happen. They just saw the people in that vicinity, so they became suspects. And he received all kinds of outpouring support from his fans, from the gay community, fellow TV and movie stars. I mean, this guy just had the whole freaking country backing him up. And then we find out, two suspects, both brothers, they were arrested and treated as potential suspects and had probable cause that they were involved. But then they were both released without charge due to new evidence. So here's the kicker. This dumb dude, Smollett, he faces felony charges now for filing a false police report to the authorities. The two men claim that Smollett paid them to attack him. Another interesting fact is he follows one of the brothers on Twitter. And then it's also said that he paid the brothers $3,500 to do this. But then if you're going to try to put this elaborate scheme together, you definitely don't want on your phone records to show that you spoke to the brothers an hour before the attack. So now that they say he staged the attack on himself because he was unhappy about his salary. And apparently there was a homophobic letter written to the show about him, And now they're saying that might be false too. So the attackers were wearing gloves, which was another interesting fact. And they punched him a little bit, but he had deep scratches on his face. So now authorities say those might actually be self-inflicted. This is a very ridiculous waste of resources for the police department in Chicago, because they already have enough on their plates as it is. They're already understaffed, underpaid, and yet they've got to stop taking care of whatever crime they're going to take care of and go over and deal with this fake report. I hope this guy gets felony charges. I hope he loses his spot on his TV show. I hope he pays thousands and thousands of dollars in fines, and I hope he spends time in jail. Then maybe, just maybe, he will actually think about things before he tries to make fake stuff up. I mean, he should have won an Oscar last night for Best Actor, but then again, he did get caught. So it's despicable. I hate people that waste police resources for false crap. Absolutely ridiculous. And I hope that his acting career is over, because he had it and he threw it away because he wanted to complain. So many people would pay to be in his shoes, to be on that spot on that show. So, Smollett, you kind of deserve this, called karma biting you in the ass. But one on the good thing is he did create 2 new jobs, technically. Just saying. All right, next we got what's being labeled as the ISIS bride. Her name is Hoda Muthana. I want to say Hoda Muthana. So apparently, she is the ISIS bride who denounced her U.S. citizenship and joined ISIS. And now she wants to be let back in to the United States. Now, first off, I say hell no. But what's crazy about this? Okay, so she left the U.S. in 2014, and she joined ISIS. She told her parents she was going to Atlanta to be a part of a field trip for her college, for her business college that she was going to. But she took the money from her tuition to buy a plane ticket to Turkey, then went out to Syria. She ended up burning her U.S. passport. Okay. Then she married not one, but 2 ISIS fighters, both killed in combat. And now, because she has no father for her baby, she wants to come back to the U.S. She claims she wants to return to the U.S. to take responsibility for her actions for the sake of her son. But yet, she used social media accounts while in Syria to call for death of America. So basically, on her Twitter, which has now been suspended, there was an entry that said, "Go on drive-bys, spill all their blood, or rent big trucks and drive over them. Veterans, Patriot, Memorial, etc. Day parades, do these drive-bys, spill their blood." Okay, so yet she wants to come back and face her, for her actions. Now, she claims she was, quote, brainwashed. Now, there's a lot of people that believe ISIS does brainwash the younger generation now and to bring them on. And I don't necessarily know if it's brainwash. I think that they just enjoy the ideals that these people are offering and all of these promises they're apparently getting. She also claims that if she's allowed to return, she will help de-radicalize other Americans that are wanting to join ISIS or have joined ISIS. Now, her father was a diplomat at the time of her birth. And U.S. has a law, the 14th Amendment. Now, if you are born on American soil, you are an American, technically, unless they are diplomatic immune. So, therefore, a person born in the U.S. to a foreign diplomat is not subject to the U.S. law. It is not automatically a U.S. citizen at birth. But then her lawyers, her family is brought in a lawyer, claims that she was actually born after her father lost his diplomatic immunity because the country or area he was from was involved in civil war, so therefore the U.S. took away his diplomatic immunity. Now, how do we know that she still isn't working for ISIS? How do we know she's not coming here to bring the armies out or whatever that are sleeper cells out in here? Regardless, okay, it doesn't matter if you were or were not. You lived here and you denounced anything United States. That's treason. You don't belong here anymore. You gave that up. So guess what? You don't come back. You are actually now an enemy of the United States. If you denounce it and you threaten violence, you're an enemy. Now, if you denounce the United States and move, just say you're going to Britain to live. Now, as long as you're not making, threats and hate mail, then you're not considered in my eyes, you're not considered a threat or an enemy of the United States. But if you're going to say, get trucks, run them over, cause problems, draw blood, then yeah, you don't belong back. So therefore, you do not deserve to be here. And they are actually now suing the Trump administration because the Trump administration says, no, she's not coming back. So now they're going to waste more resources to bring this girl back and her son, which definitely wasn't born in the U.S. So that is interesting. But now they say that her safety is in danger because now ISIS can attack her because she wants to come back. I'm sorry. Once you join ISIS, there's no coming back. Period. That's my 2 cents. The Simpsons show, which is really, really interesting. They've predicted a lot of things in the future, I think, and I kind of see this pattern, and I've been researching this one for a little bit. So there's been 30 seasons, over 650 episodes of The Simpsons. There are some interesting episodes that we've watched that have actually come true. For instance, there's a 1997 episode where Marge gives Bart a book called Curious George in the Ebola virus. So now they're saying that Simpsons predicted the United States Ebola problem when we had that crisis going on. Season 3, Lisa announced the Redskins would win the Super Bowl, and they did. The next year, they predicted the Cowboys to win, and they did. A few years later, they predicted San Francisco 49ers over the San Diego Chargers, and they did. They also predicted 1992, 93, and 94 Super Bowls. Kind of interesting. Season 25. Homer becomes a soccer referee after corruption leaves FIFA without any better candidates. Homer finds himself in charge of the World Cup, and Germany goes on to win. 2015, FIFA had a scandal, and Germany won the World Cup. In 1997, the city of New York versus Homer Simpson, there's a brochure that says New York at $9 a day, and behind the 9 is the Twin Towers. So it looks like it reads 9/11. Pretty interesting, right? There's still a few more that's quite interesting as well. I mean, there's a lot of them, but these are the most interesting that I have found. They predicted in 1998 that Disney would buy 21st Century Fox. And 2017, Disney did. They predicted the Trump presidency. And so in 2000, they predicted Trump would become president. In 2016, he did. And the way they did that, Lisa actually became president, and she says, as you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. Let's see here. Season 5. They predicted the Siegfried and Roy tiger attack, where actually 10 years later, Roy Horn was attacked after the show. They predicted that the U.S. wins the gold in curling. And in that episode, Homer and Marge are drafted to the 2010 Winter Olympics and beat Sweden to win the gold. Well, the 2018 Winter Olympics, U.S. defeats Sweden to win the gold. So that's pretty interesting if you think about it. The Simpsons, kind of a goofy TV show, and I used to love watching Simpsons as a kid, and I can remember the old controversy on Bart Simpson, "Who the hell are you?" T-shirts, and I wanted one of those back at junior high, and those were kind of frowned upon, but the Simpsons have predicted some quite interesting things, so that's just one of those weird things. I don't know where the writers come up with their ideas, but it's kind of funny that it actually comes true, and a lot of it has. Then we have going on in the United States right now called the Deer Zombie Apocalypse. That's right. The Deer Zombie Apocalypse. It's called CWD. It's also known as chronic wasting disease that is impacting white-tailed deer, mule deer, elk, and moose. And it's very progressive and fatal as well. Now, it causes damage to a portion of the brain, creating holes in the brain cells, causing a sponge-like brain. Animals with the disease are typically emaciated. Damn, I gotta work on that. Emaciated. They display abnormal behavior, lose bodily functions, become weak, and eventually die. CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says this could actually infect humans. Now, although it's called deer zombie disease, wildlife experts say the animals don't act like deers Animals don't act like zombies or behave like zombies. They might show stumbling, drooling, and weight loss, but they're not eating each other. They're not eating other people. They're not eating other animals. They compare it more so to dementia. So if you hear about this zombie outbreak with deer, it's really not a zombie considered classified outbreak of any sort. I'd more so call the guy that was in Florida on whatever drugs it was eating somebody's face a zombie before I'd call these deers a zombie. But they say that the deers show dementia, which they appear to be more confused than threatening. But again, I don't think you want to reach up and try to pet a deer that you think's got the zombie virus, or eat a deer that's got zombie virus. So that's my little disclaimer there. So that if you eat those, that's not my fault. I'm just saying it now. Very important. Then we've got a really interesting study that's actually gone out. It's called "Kids Are Developing British Accents Watching Peppa Pig." It's called the Peppa Pig effect, which is actually a legit thing. If you Google Peppa Pig effect, P-E-P-P-A, pig effect, it will show a lot of information on this. But this is a Nickelodeon show, and my kids, my two littles, love watching Peppa Pig, but I'm not a big fan of the show. So now that I've actually read this too, they're probably not going to be watching the show, at least at my house. But they find that kids are starting to speak with a British accent. Phrases like holiday, who's speaking please, mummy, daddy. And what's actually funny is my 4-year-old, when she was younger, actually started going around the house because she watched a lot of Peppa Pig, going, mummy, daddy, let's go now. And, she would really try to talk with his accent. And at first I thought it was funny. I thought, well, it's kind of cute. But now that I read that this is actually something that's kind of messing with kids' heads a little bit. But and the reason they say that the kids are picking this up so well is because younger kids have the ability to pick up languages and accents so much easier than adults do. Sorry, getting a drink there. Now, psychologists already warned parents not to let children watch Peppa Pig. The show itself consists of spoiled kids, a bullied husband, and a mother desperately in need of Prozac. That's what psychologists have actually written in those exact words. Peppa, the star of the show, stomps her feet, bullies her brother, makes fun of her parents, always has a falling out with her friends, cries when she loses, and is very antisocial. But even though the show is I guess you could say not encouraged by psychologists, it's won many different awards due to its popularity. And Peppa Pig's been around for a while, started off as books and then became a show. And then you've got Mummy, which is always bullying and antagonizing Daddy Pig. Now, Daddy Pig is actually a really big guy in this show, and he gets picked on a lot. And I totally get where he comes from, too, because I see it. I've seen it in life, you know. Yeah, Pappy's a poor Daddy Pig. But, so then you've got, the friends are always fighting over things. The show really doesn't teach anything of value. It teaches kids, well, I could stomp my feet and get what I want. Or I can yell and scream and get what I want because my mommy and my daddy are going to bring it to me. Is that pretty good? I'm getting that accent. See, I even got the accent just researching this thing. So now I get to rant. Yeah. Now there's I was driving down the street with Mammy the other day, and we see this sign that says Vegan Food Festival. And I look at her and I said, what the hell is that? What is a vegan food festival? Is that like a home and garden show or something? She thinks it's a farmer's market. I couldn't even tell you what a vegan food festival is. Okay. Now, God intended for us to eat steaks, red meat, pork, bacon, and chicken for a reason. If he didn't, then we wouldn't even know how to eat it. We'd be out there growing grass and sitting out in the grass with a fork and eating it. Okay. Now, I get it. There's reasons, some reasons people can't handle meats. I get that. But I just don't get how a vegan food festival is going to be a big thing. I like greasy, juicy hamburgers, heart-stopping, artery-clogging red meat, pork, the other white meat. I like all that stuff. So, and I've actually had a few friends that have tried to push me to become vegan. Now, I am a big guy. I get it. I weighed over 300 pounds, almost 300 pounds at one point, sorry. And I've dropped quite a bit of weight. And it's not, no, I didn't, stop eating my red meat and all that. I slowed down on it a little bit, but I still eat it. And yes, I'll eat a salad every now and then, but that's not going to be my meal. I sure love that salad right before I eat my steak. So, vegans, I want you to thank me and all of us meat eaters. Because without us meat eaters, our food wouldn't be able to poop on your food to make it grow. Just saying. Now, if you're vegan, okay, you shouldn't be driving vehicles, because without the oil and the gasoline and the propane and the natural gases, they come from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels come from dead animals. Just saying. So, vegans, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to debate whether or not vegans or Democrats are the worst, but I'm going to take a poll on that. So if you think it's vegans or Democrats, let me know. Drop a line at It's Pappy Hour on Facebook. That's right. My story of the week. I always love sharing something that's happened with me through the week with you guys. And so this is kind of interesting. So I went to Goldfield, Arizona this last weekend with Mammy. And Goldfield is considered a ghost town that used to support the Mammoth Mine, which is now a closed gold mine. It popped up in 1893, and it had about 1,500 people at its highest part of people living there. They call it the heyday. And then the post office closed in 1898, and that's when it became a ghost town for the first time. And then it was brought back again a few years later, and then closed down again shortly after, about another 8 years. It's a fun place for people to visit. If you're ever in the Phoenix metro area, Goldfield, Arizona, is a really cool little attraction. It's got a bunch of old buildings. It's got a mine tour that you could take that kind of explains how mining was done back in the day. And what's really cool is I learned a really interesting fact about the Mammoth Mine. Now, the Mammoth Mine goes down, I want to say they said like 1,800 feet or something like that. So it was a really, really long, huge mine shaft. And they showed these mine elevators that went down. Now, this stuff's going to be on Adventures with Pappy. You're going to see some of this on my first episode because I did a lot of recording while I was there. But these mine shaft elevator things, they would cram 20 people into these things, and they were about the fourth of a size of an actual freight elevator. So these things were pretty tiny, and they had they talked about how the guy that was upstairs made $5 a day, which was a lot of money at the time, because around that time in New York you made about $1 a day. And then the people that were in the mines made $3 a day, the ones that were actually drilling the holes with the hammers and the handheld drill bits. And then you've got the guy that runs the honeypot. Now, the honeypot is considered the toilet, because miners can't go up, down as they please. So they go over, sit on this toilet thing, and it gets wheeled out, and this guy's got this really big ladle, and he scoops out the honey. Anyways, he got paid $1 a day. But yet everybody wanted his job, and the people at the mine couldn't figure it out. Now, they had ways. They strip searched everybody on the way out to make sure they're not losing gold, but they were still losing gold, and they couldn't figure it out. After the mine closed, they figured out how they were losing the gold. People were dropping it in the honey pot, and this guy would fish it out. I just gag at thinking about it, but he would fish it out, give them their bag, and he would get a portion of the gold that they got. So he actually made more money than anybody else. So who knew that scooping honey or poop was going to bring a lot of money back in that day? But it was kind of interesting, the things that I learned about that. But the coolest thing about my story, okay, is not the actual Goldfield. So we got done with that tour, and it's almost 5 o'clock. It's about 8 minutes till, and I want to go see this Mammoth Rock Shop, which is Mammoth Mine Rock Shop, which is just a couple minutes away. And run to the car, we get in the car, we drive over there. There's no cars in the parking lot. I'm thinking, dang it, we missed it. I get down there, the door's locked. Crap. Missed it. Then I look over, and there's this gentleman walking towards me, and I'm kind of like, I think I know that guy. And I'm like, holy crap, I do know that guy. That's the guy from that TV show. The one about the lost treasures. And I was starstruck. And here's the really weird thing about this. I've never been this starstruck in my life. Okay, I've been in Tin Cup. Okay, with Kevin Costner, Renee Russo, Cheech Marin. I did a lot of filming as an extra, but I got to meet a lot of the cast, and I wasn't starstruck when I met Kevin Costner and all them. I've met Charles Barkley. I've met Chris Powell from Extreme Weight Loss. I've met dude from Megadeth. I've met tons of people, like going to the Suns games and in my job. And I've never been this starstruck. And I couldn't remember for the life of me what the name of the show was. And it's one of my favorite shows about lost treasures, called Lost Gold. And I said, are you one of those guys, the brothers on that show on Travel Channel? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, I knew it. And so we started talking, and I just, for the life of me, couldn't remember the show. And he was asking, what episodes I've seen, and we got to talking about it a little bit. And then I said, is your brother here? And as he's going, yeah, he's here somewhere, I look over, and I'm like, oh my God, there he is right there, man. There's your brother. So I go over and meet him. So I got to meet Jussie and Josh Feldman. Okay. They were on the Travel Channel called Lost Gold. And basically what it is, they go to different areas through the U.S., research the history of lost treasures, and go out and search for them on their own. And while they're searching, they're telling people how, this particular, treasure got lost. And so what I like about it is you get to hear about the history of it, as well as watch them search for it. Now, they did tell me that Travel Channel hasn't renewed their show, so I need my Pappy people, my Pappy Nation, to rally up. That's right, we need to go to Travel Channel's website, go to Contact Us, email them and say, bring back Lost Gold, please. The show was awesome. But I'm going to tell you, for two guys that I didn't even know were in that area, I knew by watching the show they live in that area because their father is one of the biggest Lost Dutchman explorers and hunters, and probably one of the more well-known ones. His name is Ron. And I follow a lot of Superstition Mountain stuff and Lost Dutchman stuff. I love the TV show Legends of Superstition Mountain with the crew there, and that all kind of ties into that whole area. So I knew that they lived out there because the show tells you that. But for being so starstruck, and I have a hearing loss, so that made it a little harder because I'm going a mile a minute with these guys, and I really don't know. You know, there's so much I want to say, but I'm trying to remember the name of the show. I'm trying to remember their names. And I kid you not, the second I got in the van, boom, I remembered everything. And I'm like, crap, I feel like an idiot now. I mean, the guy asked me 3 times what my name was, apparently. And Mammy had to tell me, hey, he's asking you your name. Then she, of course, saves me and goes, he has a hearing loss. And they're like, oh, okay. So they probably thought I was a poor little retarded guy or something. Or, you know, I didn't know what the hell I was like, you know, mentally crazy or whatnot. But they really talked with me for a little bit. They were really cool, and the funny part of that little bit was I'm a big fan of the Superstition, you know, the Lost Dutchman mine. And I said, how close are you guys to finding that? And Jussie goes, none of your business. Then, of course, Josh goes, I wrote about it in my book. I'll tell you exactly where it is in my book. So now I got to buy his book. Thanks a lot, Jussie. Great show, you guys, Jussie and Josh. These guys were really awesome. You know, get a chance, go on Amazon.com and check it out. It's called Lost Gold. I actually went ahead and just bought the season last night for $14 for the whole season, and it's really cool if you like history and if you like Lost Treasures or those exploring shows. This actually, you know, I had only seen a couple shows before, you know, I met them. And it quickly became my favorite show. It really did. And that's not just because I met these guys. I mean, I had already introduced Mammy to the show so that I could get her excited about it. And it just so happens I run into these guys at a closed rock shop because they own the property. So it's really cool. So hopefully I'm going to try to talk them into coming on to one of my shows. I'll probably bring them on to the Conspiracies with Pappy show because we're going to talk about Lost Dutchman Mine and some of the other lost treasures that they looked for on their shows. I want to do what I can to help them get back, because on the Travel Channel or even that Discovery Channel, I want to see Lost Gold. And, you know, I hope that they film some more, even on their own, and, you know, do what Legend of Superstition Mountains did. Wayne Tuttle and them, they actually went and they filmed it on their own, and they're releasing it on YouTube, so I get to watch their shows. Chasing the Superstition Mountains, I think that's what it's called. I subscribe to it, so I get to click it real fast and watch it. Great shows. If you guys ever get a chance to watch, but check it out on Amazon. Lost Gold, Jussie and Josh Feldman brothers, really awesome. Now my thought of the week. Okay. I got a couple of them for you because I know that I get a lot of feedback from these, and I really appreciate that. On average, people sleep a third of their life. So if you're 80 years old and you sleep 8 hours per night, you have slept a total of 26 years. Okay, now, Pappy's 42. I feel like I've only slept about 2 years in my whole life. So I don't get how I'm going to feel like I slept 26 years. But then again, that would be if you slept 8 hours a night every night. But we know that's not possible. But it's just an interesting fact to show you that you spend a lot of time sleeping in your life. It's weird to think that we hear somebody right now, us, you know, in my generation, we hear somebody refer to the 20s. We automatically think the 1920s. our kids, when they start growing up, my littles, when they hear somebody say the 20s, they're going to think about the 2020s. The 1920s aren't even going to exist for them right now. So we got to keep them educated, teaching them. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I wonder, okay, that in past times, because I like to explore, I like to dig through rocks. I'm always thinking I'm going to find the biggest next treasure or find some cool fossil. But I wonder, in past times, the space on Earth currently occupied by my house, I wonder if it was the site of an epic life or death battle between two dinosaurs. I mean, I can dream, right? Pretty cool to think. So we still got that feature in there called Ask Pappy. I haven't gotten anything lately from you guys, so remember, you can find me on our homepage through Lisbon. You can find us on YouTube. Okay. Also, make sure you view the hot pepper challenge that I did, or the hot sauce challenge. Okay. We need to get some viewerships in there. We want to make that thing go viral. I need some more subscribers. I only got 9. So please just click that subscribe button on YouTube on Ryan as Pappy, and it will let you know automatically every time something new comes up on YouTube from us. And we're going to be showing small clips, and that's how I'm going to be promoting Adventures with Pappy with some of the things that we're doing. So please do that. Check us on Facebook. It's Pappy Hour, and send me some messages. Let me know, if you want me to give you my point of view on things. If you want to argue on things, I'd love to argue. If you want to debate, let's debate. Let's do it. So let's if you could drop me some messages, likes, subscribes, anything to help viewership. Share my podcast with your friends. We're doing great. What's really cool is recently I've noticed that we are now being downloaded in Canada, France, UK, Germany, India, Philippines, Australia, all over the U.S. We almost have every state in the U.S. So if you know people that are, up in the North, Midwest, and the far Northeast, send them my show. Say, hey, listen to this guy. Let's get some downloads out that way. The more downloads we get, the more that my show gets to experience new platforms and stuff like that. So please help me out with that. Okay, now, in closing today, this is kind of a smaller show today. We're at about the 45-minute mark. I want to tell you guys, this is my thoughts for the closing. And I read this, but then I added a Pappyism to it. That's right. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be Asian. And it's okay to be Hispanic. It's okay to be female. It's okay to be male. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be straight. But it's never okay to put pineapple on pizza. Take care of each other, and you have a great week, and keep watching for our info on our new shows.
You don't like our traditions. You say we've done you wrong. Why don't you pack up your bags and take your ass back home? This is my home, and son, I'm mad as hell. I think whooping your ass is worth a couple nights in jail. There's a million pissed off rednecks just like me, and we're all sick and tired of this bullshit called PC. I guess you didn't know, but you don't mess with generally. You have a right to burn my flag, and I have a right to kick your